Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse Colson. Welcome to our channel. Made some modifications to the ice hut. Thought we'd show what we did. It's kind of cool. Kids and I have camped out in it the last couple nights here in the driveway, testing it out, having a little bit of fun. So this is what we did. Put a wood stove in it, turned it into a hot tent. Step inside. So, set the floor up on the driveway here and put this wood stove in it. And basically all I did, I pulled the one window that's right next to the door out, but made a stove jack. So I bought this piece, and it's actually almost the right size. It's a little bit long, so I just got some Velcro, sewed in another section of Velcro right here to match the window. And I just took some old jean material that we had, put some old jean material here, put Velcro here so this can come off if I ever needed to resize this. I can always take it off. It just unvelcros that whole entire piece all the way across. It just made it to where it basically fit the exact shape of the window. And then the stove jack is really good high temp. It's like a tent stove jack. So then I got one of these fiberglass safety fire blankets. They're like, it's kind of a non-shedding one. It loses barely any fiberglass. Hung it up behind it. And then I've got Velcro right there that Velcros to the center bars on the hub and supports it. And then I took and pretty much just tied it to the bar here. And then I just ran a piece of leather up for right now. I gotta redo this and actually put some different ties on that. But that way it kind of holds the blanket open. And then on this side, we just tucked it down behind the pole to hold it up. And then set the stove on the remainder of it. And we had the stove running the other night. It was so hot in here, you couldn't really sit in here. And the wall behind the stove was completely cold. You could feel the heat on the blanket, but anything past that, it was nice and cold. So looks like it's gonna work pretty good. We got some trips planned this winter. We'll be taking the stove with us. We're gonna go up one of our lakes that we go to and spend a couple days up there. So we're gonna use this up there instead of taking propane and all that with us. We're just gonna hot tent it with the stove. Since there's plenty of firewood up there, it would be a lot better. We'll take a chainsaw with us and the stove. It'll be kind of fun. We can still sleep, all three of us in here. That bed there, that bed, and that bed. So we'll be able to sleep three of us. Had the girls, they actually slept on this bed together, then Trenton and me. So worked out pretty good. Lose a little bit of room, and we won't be able to fish as much in it with the wood stove. But what we figure is we can always fold the beds down, lay them on top of the other one, and then use these, well, that hole and that hole, we can use them to fish out of if we want to. So it's gonna be pretty cool. Pretty excited to get it out of it. It's been 18 degrees the last couple nights, and you wouldn't even know it. It's so stinking hot in here. We ended up having to zip that door down about halfway because it gets too hot, and then we run both vents wide open. And then for safety, like always, we keep the CO monitor right there. So definitely been a fun couple days hanging out in here with the kids. Got Maya out here. She slept out here with me one night. Convinced her to do it, so it was a lot of fun. But on this stove jack, just has this little flap. So all we've been doing is just laying it like that. That way if it rains or snows, anything like that, it would keep anything from trying to run down the pipe. It'd actually kind of divert it maybe around the pipe. But in this pipe, we've got two more sections we could actually put on it and extend it quite a bit further out. But heck, with what we've used it hasn't had any issues. We haven't had any sparks or anything blowing back on the tent. So it's got a pretty decent little spark cover. It's kind of dirty right now, but pretty good little spark cover on it. Fits pretty darn good. The only thing we really did to make it work, we got this swivel joint, and it just swivels. You can actually make it like 90, a 22 degree or 45 degree. Put it on here. That was the only thing I really had to change to make the stove work for the hut. And it's a lot of fun. Up here, this doesn't get warm at all. When this is blazing hot, this is still pretty much cool to the touch. So even this, because the ambient air temperature keeps this decently cool, and you can stand outside, put your hand right there, you wouldn't even know it was hot. So I just took some stakes that I use for my rendezvous tents, pounded into the driveway to hold the tent down, and hasn't moved. It's been staying steady, so I might at some point do some summer camping with it. Haven't done it yet, but we were kind of talking about maybe trying. So but this winter, when we get it out on the ice, set it up, we'll do some videoing of setup on the ice and doing stuff with it. So pretty excited. Been wanting to try to run a wood stove in it for a long time, so I'm glad we were able to make this one work. And that stove, you load it up, it'll burn easy 6 hours, if not longer. So but I'm gonna get it cleaned up and probably put it away later today. Had it set up for a couple days out here, so a couple of nights that we slept in here, it was about 18 degrees outside. It might have been colder a couple nights, but I think we spent 3 or 4 nights in here, and pretty much most of them I wasn't even in my sleeping bag. It was so warm in here. Trent the same way. He kept telling me it was too hot. He ended up having to get out of his sleeping bag. So I'm pretty confident, even at 30 below, you know, like when we're down ling fishing or something like that, we'll see 30 below quite a bit. I think it'll keep it warm in here without any problem at all. So on this stove, you know, the pipe sections all they kind of slide together. The only thing we had to add was this swivel joint, and I think it'll do like it can be a straight joint, a 45, a 22, or a 90 degree joint. Added it. That was the only thing we had to add to make this work, and it's awesome. It works really good. So pretty excited to actually get it out, put it on some ice when it's super cold, and see how it really performs. And I might end up setting it back up at some point in the driveway once it gets cold, before the ice is on. When it's really cold, if we get down into like the zeros, I might set it back up, put everything back in it, and just test it out here in the driveway. But I don't think it's going to be any problems. I use this stove when we're rendezvousing. I use it inside of my teepee, and it heats my teepee really good. And it's an open top, you know, so all your hot air is rising. But that stove, it keeps it nice and warm. We got 2 more pipe sections that we could actually stick on there to get this further out and away from the tent, but never had any problems with, we've never seen any sparks or anything coming out of it and blowing back towards the tent. So I don't know that we'll need the extra pipe sections. We're gonna take them. So what we figured, we can always, you know, add them on there and then build a little tripod off over here with a couple of pieces of wood and extend the pipe away. So, but for the first test run in the newly designed hot tent, or whatever you want to call it, did really good. I was really impressed how hot it actually got and stayed inside of there. And even after the stove went out, this fabric holds heat for a long time. It's really impressive. So it was a lot of fun. Kids all had a great time sleeping in there. I always do. I love sleeping in this thing. Maya always gives me a hard time because I would probably sleep in here all the time. Wouldn't faze me in the least, but she stayed in here with me the one night, and Trenton stayed in here with me one night, and then Trenton and the girls. So hi, baby. Did you have fun sleeping in here? Yeah, it's fun, huh? Yeah. She loves it. She'd sleep in tents just like me all the time if she could. Yeah. It's always fun, huh? Yeah. But anyway, got a couple of little adjustments I'm gonna make to this. I've got, so these side trays, they're designed to go in on each side of the stove. That way you can cook on it or whatever. What I'm gonna do, I won't slide in. I gotta tweak this. It got bent somehow, but I'm gonna make a kind of a heat deflector that I can stick in right here. That'll come just a little bit away from the stove, maybe 2 to 3 inches, something like that. And it's just gonna be a little plate to try to deflect a little bit of the heat coming off of this side, because between there and this cot, it's only maybe 20 inches worth of room. So this cot kind of gets a little bit hot. So for safety, I'm just going to build a little heat deflector that we can stick on right here. That'll kind of block a little bit of that extreme heat transfer from coming this direction. Those two are far enough away, they never really even got too warm, so build that for this side of it. Just for a little safety more than anything. So, but got a couple of other little implements we're gonna make and adjustments we'll make to it. But pretty excited to get it out, try it, spend a couple days in it on the ice. We'll cook on here, we'll do pretty much everything right there, so it's gonna be pretty fun. Can't wait to have ice again. Been missing ice fishing.
I can't wait to skate. I can't wait to skate.
Bailey wants to learn how to ice skate, so some point in time we're gonna have to try to rearrange getting her on some ice to ice skate. But anyway, it was a lot of fun though. We've kind of enjoyed building this and getting it all together. I'm pretty excited to get it out on the ice, set it up, spend some time in it. I know we've got a couple 4-day trips, a couple 3-day trips planned, and then pretty much anytime we can, we're gonna try to be out on the ice, doing a bunch of ice fishing. Excited to bring you guys along with us. Hopefully, get some good fishing action in. But, and I don't know, you know, we won't probably take the stove with us every time. Sometimes going down to Fontenelle, we'll probably just bring the buddy heater. Just run the big buddy heater. But, you know, I like sleeping in the ice hut, especially for several days, running the propane heater in there. Start waking up, my throat kind of feels a little bit sore, and every night that we've been in here with the heat, with the stove going, I haven't had a sore throat. I haven't felt stuffy or anything in the morning. So I'm hoping that'll kind of help keep that from happening. And, you know, propane, the bloody heaters, they're really good. You know, no CO, no anything, but the excess moisture off of it, I think, is probably a lot of what causes me to have a bit of a sore throat. But we're excited to actually put this to use in some fishing situations, and might at some point do just a winter camp out in it. Take it up in the mountains somewhere, drag it behind the snow machines, take it up there, set it up. Hopefully do at least one little just camp trip. Not even ice fish, nothing. Just go up, have some fun, spend some time in the mountains, a couple days or whatever, and hang out, enjoy some time up there. I think it'd definitely be good for it. You know, this hut's... I was trying to figure out the other night, we've spent 20 plus nights in this hut, maybe even more than that. And probably more than that, especially now, with the last few days that we've spent out here just in the driveway. But I bet you it's been probably over 20 nights that we've slept in it. And I've never had a cold night in this hut. We've been down ling fishing. We've had several 30 below nights. One trip just Trenton and I were on, it was every bit of 20, 30 below. And the wind was blowing, that one night it had been blowing 50 plus. And we were never cold. You know, we stayed nice and warm inside the hut that whole entire trip. And you don't even really feel like the wind or anything through this fabric. So I'm excited to put the wood stove in and use it on some ice fish trips and see, you know, if we have the same result as using the buddy heater. I really think we will. I think it'll be probably too warm still. We'll probably still end up having to zip a door down. I don't remember what this little wood stove is rated. It's one my dad picked up a handful of years back. When we first started camping on the ice, he picked this stove up, and I have an old, just a canvas tent. I was trying to think what brand it is. I can't even remember now, but it's a pretty old canvas tent. It's kind of like a outfitter's tent or something like that. Just a sleeping quarters thing more than anything, but we used this stove in that tent several different trips. Camped out there down on Fontenelle, and it was a lot of fun. You had to run this stove wide open in that canvas tent to try to keep it warm enough, because it was pretty thin canvas, kind of old, kind of wore out kind of canvas, but you'd run this stove pretty much wide open, keeping her hot in there. It worked. You know, we didn't really ever get cold, but we also didn't have the floor either. So I don't know, you know, maybe the floor would have made a difference in that canvas tent, but still, it was fun. Had a great time doing it. That was kind of what got us into ice camping. Dad had the idea to take one of those tents down and stay on the ice, and heck yeah, let's go do it. So we did, and me, Trent, and Dad went down, spent 3 or 4 nights. I don't even remember now, but 3 or 4 nights down there. And then I don't know, maybe it was only 2 or 3 nights. I can't remember. That's been too many years ago now, I guess. But then we did another trip the year before I bought this hut. We did another trip in that one. And then Trenton and I, it was 2 years before I bought this hut, I guess. So then Trenton and I had taken Dad's just little fold-over hut, and him and I did 3 nights in that hut down there on the lake. And so it's just a fray bale fold over, and the material on it's pretty thin. It's just a single wall, probably more so just to keep you from getting wind is about all it really is. And Bailey brought me a pretty rock. But so Trenton and I spent, thanks Bailey,
You're welcome.
we spent 3 nights I think in it during the dingling. And a guy I know, one of my friends, he has one of these huts, and we went over and looked at it and kind of decided I liked it quite a bit. And so I started looking for one, ended up finding this one, picked it up. I'm glad I did. It's been probably the best investment towards ice fishing that I've ever made. Because like I said, night and day difference in the temperature from outside to inside. Even just running the buddy heater, 99% of the time that buddy heater never goes over medium when we're in it. Even when it's 30 below, it keeps it 60 degrees in here without a problem. So, but definitely awesome. Definitely excited. I think it's going to be a great ice fishing season. Plan on doing a lot of ice fishing. Try to get a lot of good video content. Try to spend a lot of nights in this hut, so pretty excited to do it. Excited to bring everybody along with us. But I think we're gonna work on getting this all cleaned up and tear it down. Probably get everything put away later today, and so I'll probably show how the floor goes together after we take the hut off. Show how the floor all kind of sets together. And the way we made it, it kind of locks together, but not 100% locks together. But I'll probably show how it all sits together and in a way interlocks. It'd be kind of easy to show it here in the driveway, so I might tag that on to the end of this. That way you kind of see how we built it in case somebody wants to build one, give you an idea how we did it. But it's definitely cool, fun little deal, I guess. It only took, I don't know, four or 5 sheets of plywood to build the floor. It was super easy to make it once you got your layout, how the tent set on it. It was actually really easy to build, so it's a lot of fun though. Enjoy using it. Keeps your feet dry. You don't have to worry about it. A lot of people use those like rubbery plastic mats or whatever you call them, and they seem like they work pretty good too. This just gives you a little lift up off the ice. So we've ran the heater, like basically 3 full days. And when we go and take the hut up, underneath of it where the heater sat, you could tell the heater was there because the snow was just slightly melted. But we've never had any issues with water coming up through it or anything like that. It creates a really good insulation barrier. It actually really keeps the ice and the snow from melting underneath of it. It's really impressive. I didn't figure it would actually create that much of a barrier, but it's really nice. Get in here, you take your shoes off, sit down and relax. You don't have to worry about wet feet or the ice melting, building up water puddles everywhere. As when we first started camping in the other tent, we had that issue quite a bit. And you set the heater up, didn't matter what you did, it always melted, so you always had that little puddle of water everywhere in there. But haven't had that issue with this one. Hopefully we never do. But anyway, once I get the hut and everything all pulled off of it, like I say, I'll show the floor. I got some other modifications. I'm going to make some little hooks that we can hang our coats and stuff up, so probably do that before I take it all down. But once I get it took down, like I said, I'll show the floor, what it looks like and how it all kind of assembles together. And well, the kids talked me into doing one more night, so we're gonna do one more night in the ice hut. It's later in the night and the rest of the video. We're gonna spend one more night out here and we'll get it took down tomorrow. I'm gonna show a couple of the things that I did. I was talking about it the other part of the video. The other little add-ons that I did. So on the stove, this is a little heat plate that I was talking about. Creates a gap in there. You know, it's just like any other wood stove. You put a heat plate and it cuts the heat off the certain spot. So I'm hoping, and it seems like so far it's working. Hopefully it'll help not be so hot. Like I was saying, the edge of this bed right here gets pretty warm. So I'm hoping that putting this on there, maybe it'll help. But got fire going in there. It's kind of lazily burning. I think the spark screen getting a little bit plugged off. But we've got Bailey's gonna sleep over there. Tashi's gonna stay in the house with Mom tonight. She's already pretty tuckered out, so Bailey's gonna sleep right there. That's Trenton's bed. Over here's mine. So the other thing we did, I forged these hooks today, so they slide in and you can hang something off of them. I'll pull this one over here out. So it's just a piece I forged up. Actually works pretty good for how I made them. But they just slip right in there. Sit right there with that. And then we can hang anything we need off of them. That way, need to dry something out or anything. So there's one in every spot, every part where the poles are at. I've got a hook in each place. And then I made my little fire tubes. I make a bunch of these. I sell all year during rendezvous. Made one of these that'll go inside the stove. That way, when we're packed up and traveling with it, if we're going to a lake or whatever, we'll have this blowpipe. Same thing with this. I made this fire poker a couple years back. It's short enough, it fits right inside the stove, so everything's contained inside the stove. Stovepipe, everything all fits right in there. And that heat plate's definitely helping. Seems like it's helping quite a bit, so. But anyway, so I've made the hooks, made the side plate for it to try to help contain some of the heat. As long as it works, I think it's going to be a pretty good little setup. Like I say, it feels like it's definitely deflecting quite a bit of the heat that we were having before coming off the side of that thing. A pretty thin plate stove, you know, it's like 1/8 inch plate. So it gets pretty hot pretty quick. Choke the air back just a touch, starting to get pretty warm. There's Trenton coming in.
Oh, jeez, it's hot in here.
It's got it nice and cozy in here, huh? But it definitely feels like that's helping, so hopefully that was the answer to keep some of the heat off the spots we don't want it to be. We got Coda dog. She loves sleeping out here. She slept out here with us almost every night, so.
In the first, I think.
She's a good pup. She's still young.
I'm excited.
She got a lot of years of sleeping in here, I hope.
I'm excited.
And Bailey's all excited to get to sleep in here one more night before Daddy's got to go to work, so. anyhow, figured I'd show the rest of that. Show a couple little things that we changed. Pretty cool. Hopefully it keeps working as good as it has been and keeps us nice and cozy. I don't think it's not supposed to get too cold tonight, but imagine probably about 20, 25 degrees, somewhere in that range, so it won't be too cold. So at some point we're going to set it up. Hopefully we get down into the zeros or the negatives before the ice really gets on. We're going to set it up and test it out. So right now it's 38. Looks like it's going to get down to 27 probably, so it'll be pretty warm. Look at the weather here and see. Yeah, we're supposed to stay in the 20s pretty much through next week, so won't be testing it out anytime soon, but hopefully in the next, I don't know, maybe mid-November, somewhere in there, we should start getting down pretty chilly, so hopefully we'll be able to give it a really good test in the nice cold. Excited to get it on the ice, though. Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Probably another, I don't know, it's I think it's October 17th today. Yeah, today's October 17th. So it'll probably be at least the end of November before we get any ice. But most likely it's going to be like the first part of December. It's usually when everything ices up enough to get on it. And we have our first trip is planned in the middle of December. And that'll be our first planned trip to the ice, unless it ices over before, but I'm quite sure it'll probably be about then when it ices over. So anyway, we're gonna go to sleep. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Well, it's the next day. Got everything pulled out of the ice hut. Getting ready to take the hut off. Actually supposed to start getting some snow tonight, so I'm gonna get the hut taken off and get it put away, just to keep it dry. We're gonna get the floor picked up and put away, get it all taken care of. So like I said last night, I was gonna show how we assembled the floor together to create the kind of locking that we use to, I guess, hold it together. It's not really locking, it just overlaps. But so we're gonna pull the hut off, get it put inside, and then as we start taking the floor apart, I'll show how it looks all together. But got it cleaned off. Wood stove was a success, worked really good. Really happy with it. The heat plate was awesome. That thing worked like really good. I was really impressed how much heat it deflected away from my bed. I was actually able to lay there with my head on that end all night long. Never really did get too hot, so that was a huge success also. So okay, so the way we designed this, got Maya filming for me. These overlap each other. So just did a 2x4. I split the 2x4. Screwed it in on one side and about the other. That way these two boards will overlap and stay sitting on that. So, and on the underside, we just kind of made a frame and we made some support points because we used some pretty thin plywood. I think it's 1/2 inch. And it does flex, but once it's sitting on actual snow, it's really solid. But so we put support points in the middle of each spot just to kind of help rigidize it a little bit. And then where the door was, we had a support point in the door too. So each piece, girls, please move. So on this one, these pieces, we did the same thing. We just overlapped it on both sides. And then we built support sections under each spot too. Just this side, it's built the same way as the other side. And we just took and put dots on them to number them. That way we know what side goes with what piece. Pretty super simple, pretty easy, quite affordable. So, works out good. Lightweight, one person can carry all the pieces. And we built a trailer that they all sit on and strap down to, so works out good. That's pretty much it. That's how it all goes together. Those little lips, like I say, once it's on the snow, super stable. You set up on the rocks and stuff, it kind of has a tendency to walk apart a little bit, but sitting on the snow, we've never really had it come apart. It's super stable, works really good, super easy to make it. Keeps you warmer, keeps you dry, gives you a nice place to kick your boots off and not have to worry about it. So anyway, I'd like to say thanks to everybody for coming along with us. Hope you enjoyed the little tutorial of the ice hut and the little add-ons that we made to it. I'm definitely excited to get that stove out and put it on the ice and see how it actually works on the ice. But until then, we'll just camp in the driveway if we get the chance. It's always fun camping in the ice hut. So anyway, thanks to everybody coming along with us. Enjoy what we do. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.